Hey guys, it's time for the Christmas vinyl edition. Christmas with the Jew married to the Catholic. And let's get started. Guys, what's up? This is Greg with the post-Christmas pre-New Year's holiday edition. And at our house, we got tons of vinyl. Let's check it out. Hold on. This is the pile that came into our house in the last couple weeks. And our house is a vinyl house, as you may know. Our house was built on a foundation of vinyl. What do you mean, Greg? Because before my wife and I got married, we met at a record store. Our marriage is a holy communion of two record collections. And now there's a third little record collection running around. My son, who's in his 20s, but big music fan. He's got all kinds of great musical instruments, keyboards, basses, guitars, pianos, etc. Anyway, one thing to keep in mind when I'm shopping for Christmas stuff is if I go into a store, I might grab myself a couple of pieces of vinyl and not tell anybody. You're not supposed to buy yourself presents, for Christmas. But, like, for example, I got this the other day. Lester Young, the greatest pre-Charlie Parker saxophonist, the Prez as we call him. This is one of those two record sets on Verve, kind of a greatest hits essential kind of a thing. Yeah, it's for $5, two records. I've been listening to this over and over the last week, and I'm loving it. And a lot of the stuff was recorded before vinyl was a thing. A lot of it came out in the early days, the 1940s, on the 78 RPM. And I noticed good old Nat King Cole plays piano on the first disc. That's pretty cool. Anyway, if you're new to jazz, you don't know Lester Young, check it out. It is wonderful. Lester Young, 4 sides, $5. You can't beat that deal, can you? Another bargain I found that I bought myself. Don't tell anybody. Colin Stetson is a very unusual saxophone player. He is not really jazz. He's almost like minimalist. He's a one-man show. He plays the saxophone. I think it's baritone. I'm not sure if it's baritone or tenor. Probably tenor. He's a one-man show, and he tends to do this circular breathing thing where he plays continuously, doodly, 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 doodly. Good. That's a good impression, Greg. Without taking a breath. He doesn't have phrasing in the traditional sense because he does circular breathing where he fills his mouth. You can breathe out. You can push air out of your mouth while you're breathing in through your nose. That's circular breathing. He does that, and he sings through the saxophone or hums through it, and it's very weird and haunting and strange. This is a 2-record set that I got for $8. Colin Stetson, Canadian saxophone player. Check him out if you haven't heard it. This is called New History of Warfare, Volume 3. Not necessarily my favorite of the pile here, but I'm showing you what we got. Another sale. I saw this for half off, and I had to get it because I've been looking at this record for a long time. And when I see it for $14 instead of $35, wow, that's a deal. Okay, this is a very controversial cover. Adrian Young is a LA-based keyboard player. And he's one of the creators of the Jazz is Dead series. The Jazz is Dead, which is kind of it's jazz, baby. I thought this was jazz. It's really not jazz. It's more R&B and maybe some hip-hop elements. It's really got a very sort of 70s retro R&B funk sound with a lot of lyrics that are based on black civil rights stuff. And it's a very controversial, I don't know if it's controversial, but it's sort of shocking. That's Adrian Young posing as a lynched black person from the... This is the style of the postcards that they literally used to make. Hey, you guys want to go to the lynching today and take a picture and send out a postcard? So, double record set. But I haven't opened it yet because I'm scared that it's not jazzy enough. But I'm going to listen to it online before I decide to open it. I'm not even going to show you the back. If you guys know this record, tell me what you think. Okay, I grabbed it because it was on sale. It was on my want list when I thought it was jazz. It's jazzy, but it's not necessarily jazz. The same sale, half off, spiritual jazz, Enrique Rodriguez. How do we pronounce this? Enrique Rodriguez and the Negra Chiwe Band. Spiritual jazz from Chile. Very spiritual jazz. This is kind of one of those classic records that wasn't that well known and then got reissued recently. Soul Jazz Records. And to find this for half off. Very cool. I listened to this multiple times. I like it a lot. If you like the spiritual jazz with the flutes and the percussion, there's a lot of percussion on here. Oh, this is cool. The Soul Jazz Records has like their whole catalog on these little tiny squares. Very cool. It's like, makes you want to look up those records and see which ones you like and see which ones are jazzy. Any artists that jump out at me? All these cool artists. Look how many there are. What is that? 9 by 9, 81 times 2, 160, just like a baseball season. 162 games. Okay, here's the big record of the season, the big record of the Christmas season, because every year my wife asks for the Wilco record for Christmas, and she gets it for Christmas. Wilco Cousin. What could possibly be better than a Wilco album, according to Spin Magazine? 10 new tracks. Jeff Tweedy. You know the drill. Wilco, my wife's favorite band. We went to see them in LA a couple months ago when they were touring to support this. And she hasn't opened it yet. We just got these presents out yesterday. Today's the day after Christmas. But, you know, everything in my house revolves around my wife's love of Wilco. Good for her. I'm surprised she got me this, because I didn't know she was going to get me the fat 4-disc set. But it's cool. Pharoah Sanders. Pharoah Sanders, it's called Pharoah. I don't think it's his very first album. I think it's his second album. Recorded August and September of 1976 on Luca Bop. And they're the ones who released his other, the Floating Points thing that came out a couple years ago. This is the box set. It's got unreleased live performances. It's got a 24-page booklet, rarely seen photographs, blah, blah, blah. Pharoah Sanders. The great Pharoah Sanders, who just passed away last year, got his name from Sun Ra. And, it's embossed. It's got a texture to it, which I don't think the original had. Ooh, embossed. But very cool. Many critics think this is the best record of the year. And I should do a whole video on this record as being the best record of the year. Who is that? No, that is not David Byrne. That is not Peter Gabriel. That's not David Bowie. That's not me. It's this guy. All the way from Iceland, Vikingur Olafsson. His interpretation of Bach's Goldberg Variations. Kind of the Mount Everest of piano keyboard pieces. And this has gotten just a lot of great reviews. This is on the label of Deutsche Grammophon. They did a massive promotion for this record. And I've been asking for it for months, and I finally got it. I guess it's a 2-disc set. I haven't broken it open yet, but ask for it by name. The Goldberg Variations by Bach. Beautiful photography. Right? You know the Glenn Gould version. And now we have the Vikingur Olafsson version. And if he comes to LA, no, I want to see him play. Our buddy Mike Mueller, Belmoria, he got to meet him, and they even play a couple of songs on the same record. They've had stuff released on the same record on Deutsche Grammophon, so I'm jealous of him. Okay, another great musician who passed away in 2023 is the great Ahmad Jamal. Awakening. The Awakening, Ahmad Jamal Trio. This is re-released on Verve, and this is one of those third-man pressings from our buddy Jack White. I was not a huge Ahmad Jamal fan, but the last couple of years, Zev Feldman sent me a couple of Ahmad Jamal discs that he worked on. And then when we were doing our last interview, he said something like, do you ever get a song stuck in your head and you just want to play the record over and over? And he was referring to this record. So I went and listened to it online. I'm like, yeah, that is cool. I'm putting it on the Santa list, and here it is. It showed up in my stocking. Ahmad Jamal with Jamil Nasser and Frank Grant. Not all these records are mine, guys. I'm not hogging the place with my own stuff. On Craft Recordings, The Zombies with Rod Argent, for example. One of the sort of classic records of the 60s. Time of the Season is on here. It's the time for the season. You know that song. This is my son. He asked for this for Christmas. He went to see the Zombies a couple months ago. They've got a new record out. They've been making records for 30, 40, 50 years. But this is a classic from the Psychedelia 60s catalog, The Zombies. What's their other song? She's Not There. You know that song. With this album, the Zombies established themselves alongside with the royalty of rock. You get it. Okay. From the bargain bin, I found this for my son for a couple bucks. My son plays alto saxophone, and he likes Sonny Stitt. So this is Sonny Stitt on sax playing songs of Charlie Parker. I listened to this before I gave it to him. Don't tell him. But I thought there was a little more trombone than I was hoping for. Do you ever have too much trombone? Maybe you just want a certain amount of trombone. But Sonny Stitt, one of the great sort of journeymen of jazz who's made zillions and zillions of records on a zillion different labels and lived a long life and made a lot of records. My son and I went to see Devo a month or two ago at the SoFi, the YouTube thing at SoFi. So this is Jerry Casale came out with an album. I don't know what this is, but we grabbed it for him because, Christmas shopping impulse buy. Jerry Casale, not Mark Mothersbaugh, the other guy. And this is called The Invisible Man. Kind of crazy artwork. Is that in focus? Can you see that? But we got to hang out with the great Mr. Michael Pilmer, Mr. Devo himself, at the YouTube Center down in LA. Also for my son, who loves West Coast jazz, Lee Konitz and Jerry Mulligan, World Pacific Records. This is a recent Blue Note reissue. Tone Poet. That's right. My son, what a lucky kid. There's records missing here. Okay, we're going to pause this while I run around the house. We're back. More records under the Christmas tree. So I opened this record up yesterday, and I kind of laughed because I'm like, that wasn't on my birthday list. It's not the type of thing I would be asking for. Christmas list. We do Christmas lists here, and you get what's on your list and maybe a few surprises. This was not on my Christmas list. It turns out that someone mixed up my son's list and my list, and I got this one, and I had to trade my son for it. But this is Oasis Be Here Now. What hits are on here? I don't know. It's not my record. My son's a big Oasis fan and a big Beatles fan. Those things go together. And funny thing, he opened up Oasis, and I opened up this. Madou Makhtar, West African guitar player. Afrique Victim or Victime. This is a really cool record on Matador Records, of all things. Matador used to be the punk rocky label. But you guys got to check out Madou Makhtar. Really cool West African. All those West African guys are playing Stratocasters for the most part. They have a really unique sound and style. Is that America? Is that America's Wild Eagle? Bald Eagle? Beating up on the Africans? I can see that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Last one I could find. A young lady gave this to my son. The Ventures. What is this called? Ventures Super Psychedelics. That's groovy. I'm feeling groovy. Happy Together, Strawberry Fields Forever, Psychedelic Venture, Guitar Psychedelics, Psyched Out. Let's see if we can put the word psychedelic in every song. You guys want a hit of acid? Because send me some. I'm all out. But that's groovy. What about some non-record things? There's musical things here that are not albums, believe it or not. How many of you got one of these for Christmas? What is that? How many of you got your own ring modulator kit? Get out the soldering iron, build yourself a ring modulator. That's like a guitar pedal, synth pedal that makes weird sound effects. Synthrotech. I can't wait to build this and annoy everybody with some really weird noises. I don't have time to explain what a ring modulator is, but did you know? I got a book called Did You Know? Well, did you know? My son got me this, and maybe he's embracing his very small Jewish heritage. It's 50-50, but it's some light reading, fun facts. And then my wife got this, Let's Go, biography of Benjamin Orr and the Cars. Not the other guy. Not the Ocasek guy. Not the Elliot Easton guy. This guy. The other guy. The bass player. And he sings on a lot of cool songs like Let's Go. Anybody have any good reviews on this thing? I'm happy that Joe wrote this book. Okay. That's what Greg Hawkes for the Cars said. How many of you are going to chow down on some European candy? How many of you like salty herring-shaped candy? From, where's this from? You're probably going to unsubscribe when you see this one. Did you guys know the Pentagon funded a lab in China? What are they doing there? Why? Bioweapons research? Sure. That sounds like some fun reading. This book is very well, the citations, the receipts are there, baby. Thousands of citations. But, you know, keep your mind open to new things. This is Greg, Vinyl Rundown. Subscribe to me if you want. Comment, please. I want to hear your comments, good or bad or terrible. And I love it if you subscribe to me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on Instagram. That means I spend too much time scrolling. Vinyl Rundown on Instagram, and I will always subscribe to you back, YouTube or Instagram, if you have a vinyl channel. And that's enough for today, guys. I got to go listen to some records and read some books and eat some candy. Have a good one.